Welcome back, Iron Investors, to another epic episode ICN Talks, the podcast where we aim to interview C-level executives, founders, real builders in our industry. But more than that, today I have a very special guest, Irina Heaver, a crypto lawyer. That type of job that everyone thinks it's very expensive, but till the moment when you need you, right? Like when we need you, suddenly it's very cheap everything, the problem you solve, right?
Or it's very expensive not to have a good lawyer to represent your project because the consequences down the road can be very dramatic. We have founders that are literally going to prison. We have founders that are being pursued by the regulators all over the world because they probably wanted to save a few bucks in the beginning of the journey. And of course, being a lawyer, of course, I would recommend you to consult a lawyer, especially in our crypto and Web3 space, because things are changing every day. And not only that, if you have a crypto Web3 project, you are operating across borders because blockchain knows no borders, but the laws and the jurisdictions, of course, have the borders. So I would highly recommend consult a lawyer to save all the pain and the suffering down the road.
Just imagining the level of intensity when you go and say, okay, you won't go to jail. And now I will send you the invoice. Like, how much is that? Like, why would you ask? I just save your freedom, right? It goes like this.
No, it does not really go like this. You've probably seen a few too many movies.
I've seen a lot of movies, yeah, indeed.
And what actually happens in law or what actually happens in a courtroom and what you see in the movies are two completely different things. Of course, we don't have all the drama as you see in Suits or Boston Legal, but sometimes we have the most hilarious situations. Founders, especially in our Web3 and crypto space, are normally young. Somebody who has not held a C-level executive position within a corporate, so they haven't learned all the tricks of the trade or tricks of running the business, but they're very intelligent. They can design and code a software which we haven't seen before. But that also this immaturity, business-like immaturity, brings a lot of burden on advisors and lawyers because sometimes they have to explain clients how to issue an invoice because they've never done it in their life, or explain to them how to record the expenses because we will need that at the end of the year to file the returns, and they haven't had that experience. So sometimes we have interesting situations, but I'm absolutely loving my clients. They are so intelligent, they're so driven, they're so dynamic, they want everything yesterday. A client comes and says, okay, we've launched a token, now we need all the legal work. Well, fantastic. No, well, first you need the legal work.
Let's sit a little bit, yeah.
Let's wait, let's see, shui shui, as we say here. But I absolutely adore working with crypto founders and Web3 founders. It's completely different energy, completely different dynamic. People are so driven and so intelligent. Every day I learn something new from them.
Yeah, absolutely. Indeed, it's an industry that requires a different level of intellectual properties. And then I'm 100% sure you've seen a lot of stuff in our industry. And I want to ask you, Irina, what is the biggest challenge prior launching a successful project? Like what you have seen so far? Where is the bottleneck?
The challenges are plenty, right? We can start.
I mean, the most painful one, of course.
Marketing, onboarding clients, building a community, token sales, token launches, technology, whichever way you poke, there is a challenge. But of course, I'm not the one to advise on that or even get involved in that. When we deal with our clients or when we help the crypto projects, and I've advised more than 200 projects since 2016, so it's been a few. So of course we focus on the legal and the regulatory aspect of launching a project. Unfortunately, very often when a project comes to us, sometimes they're in the middle of building or they're in the middle of launching or they have launched last week and then the issues arise and then they come to a lawyer. So I would highly, highly suggest everyone to think about that ahead of time.
That's quite late, isn't it?
It is quite late,
Yeah.
and sometimes we can fix things, sometimes we cannot fix things. But a first consultation with a lawyer is always free. Get on a call, find a crypto lawyer within your area, get on a call, book a call. First call is always free. Talk about your project, ask what that lawyer thinks about your landscape. Talk to a couple of lawyers, right? Don't get, if God forbid something is wrong with your health, you go to a doctor right away and you don't get, and the doctor tells you, okay, we need to amputate your leg. You don't do it right away. You talk maybe to a couple of other doctors. And
Ideally, yeah.
same with lawyers. Find somebody you trust, find somebody you can work with, get a couple of different opinions, because one lawyer may know something, another lawyer may know something else, because
And connect the dots. Yes.
yeah, connect the dots, because experiences are different as well. For example, my focus is the UAE and the Middle East as a jurisdiction, as well as Switzerland and Europe. But maybe Singapore or Hong Kong is the best jurisdiction for you. So talk to lawyers there as well. Don't be shy. Don't be shy to reach out to a lawyer. We're not gonna send you a huge bill right away. It's always good to talk to other founders, what they found to be useful. But there's one thing that happens, unfortunately. My second cousin is a divorce lawyer. Let me ask him how to launch a token. No, it doesn't work like this. Legal expertise is very particular to an industry. So I would never give an opinion on a pharmaceutical industry, how to launch a new medication, because I know nothing about that. So
your example is really good. I mean, you touched exactly the base. Like, you are exactly like doctors, right? You don't go to a dental clinic to transfer your kidney, right? So it's exactly the same thing with lawyers. You need to find the one who is expert in that particular niche that you want to develop your business, and start building from there. But I think the most challenging part is for people to understand that getting in touch with a lawyer is not something that, oh my God, I need to pay, because this is the mentality somehow, right? Like, we see you as a very expensive task, right? Which it makes sense, because as I mentioned, the problem that you solve are crucial, right, for businesses and for individuals. But is this step the communication that, okay, come to us, be open, tell us exactly what you want to achieve, what you want to build, and then we can guide you on the right path?
Yes, of course. And like I mentioned, the first call is always free. And when you're talking to a lawyer during this first call, ask them a simple question. For example, if you're building a DAX, ask them, do they know what a DAX is? If you're launching a centralized exchange, ask them which centralized exchange they prefer using. Because if you're talking to a crypto lawyer who has never used a MetaMask and who has never used Binance, let's say, or any other sort of very, very common applications, then maybe they're not the proper attorney for you. Or if you're looking to set up a DAO, ask your lawyer which DAOs are they part of, right? Ask them which governance tokens they hold. Ask them which council members they're part of which DAO, because then you know your lawyer actually inside that industry, not just an outsider.
Soldier in the field.
Exactly, soldier in the field. That's what you want. You do not want your lawyer to be learning what a DAO at your cost and sending you bills for your cost. We have, for example, fintech projects coming to us looking for advice, and I'll tell them, no, thank you. I would love to support you, but fintech is not my expertise. Is it very close to crypto? Yes, it's very close, but it's not my expertise. My expertise is crypto, Web3, decentralized applications, DAOs, regulations around that. So this is all we focus on, and we're very busy just serving this industry. Sometimes we have to ask our clients to wait for a couple of weeks before we start working on them, because this is all we do, and this is our focus. So
indeed, the volume is at a very high scale when it comes to regulation, because there are so many implications behind the scenes that maybe the retail, let's say like that, people they look to invest in the crypto space. They have no idea about those risks behind, right? And when the exposure, when they go and play with their wallets, how risky is to just say yes to everything, any questions, or it's very easy to land on a 101 replica website and
Yeah.
get scammed with so many in very easy way.
But
The thing
unfortunately,
is, I want to go to the next question is being part of the UAE with a very strong networking here implications. How close we are here to reach that point where the regulations will be, as a guideline?
well, we've reached that point quite a while back. In 2019, ADGM, which is one of the financial free zones, issued early regulations, and they've licensed a number of centralized exchanges, centralized custody service providers, and ADGM is very busy when it comes to crypto, Web3, blockchain. They've launched metaverse courts, metaverse arbitration. They're now talking about Web3 courts. So ADGM has been very, very active as a financial free zone and as a regulator. In Dubai, where we are right now, we've had a virtual assets regulatory authority for a while. Earlier last year, they've issued their regulations, and they've already licensed around 20 virtual asset services providers, VASPs, as we call them here. And also there are federal regulations at the federal level, because VARA is the regulator for Dubai, but all the other Emirates, and we have 7 Emirates here in the UAE, fall under the federal regulator called Emirate Security and Commodity Authority. And also we have a central bank. So we have plenty of regulators, that's for sure. We have plenty of regulations, that's for sure. We have financial free zones, we have economic free zones. So when it comes to jurisdictions, that we don't have a shot of, for sure. And when it comes to regulations, that's, knock yourself out. You will.
I mean, I know this is an ongoing process, right? All the time they face and they see things in the market. They say, okay, we need to look up after these things as well, and after these things, right? So at one point, it has to be some updates or some things.
I mean, one thing at a time. For now,
haven't been touched yet, right?
So for now, the regulations apply for VASPs, virtual asset services providers, like centralized exchanges, centralized custody providers. ADGM is talking about regulating DeFi applications down the road. They have just passed DAO regulations in order for you to be able to set up a DAO or a DLT, sort of layer 1 protocols, legal wrappers around that. So yes, of course, because the technology moves so fast, and and every quarter some new trend is popping up. Generally, regulations are at least 10 to 15 years behind the technology. So here in the UAE, we are maybe only 5-6 years behind the technology, which is great level internationally. Swiss Crypto Valley, that's where I spend half of my time. We've had guidelines from FINMA, which is the Swiss regulator, since about 2018. So they're a little bit early. That's why I look at what's happening in the Swiss Crypto Valley, the successful businesses we have there. Most of the layer 1 protocols are set up in Zug, and the Zug as a canton and as a commercial sort of entity are very supportive of the industry. And Dubai is catching up very fast, especially during the pandemic. A lot of businesses moved here, a lot of entrepreneurs moved here. So to ask your questions, how the regulations are going, absolutely, it's an ongoing work, but we already have various options to pick from. So financial free zones, ADGM or the IFC, the federal regulator, ESCA, and the Dubai regulator, VARA, Virtual Assets Regulatory Authority. So you have, central bank. So you have 5 regulators to play with. Which other country can say that they have 5 regulators to pick from? Not a single one. We're very unique, which is a burden because you need to understand all of these regulatory regimes, but also it's a benefit because you can pick and choose which applies to you. It's called regulatory arbitrage. So you can play one regulator against the other if you are already a big player, and you can negotiate with regulators to extend. Let me set up with you, and give me this exemptions or give me those preferences. So it's a burden and a benefit, but for lawyers, I cannot describe to you how
Yes.
exciting it is to play with 5 regulators in one tiny jurisdiction like UAE.
Yeah, indeed. I want to ask you a concrete question. I'm going concrete with things. We are 10 investors, right? Individuals. We have each one of us $100,000 in our wallet. We want to have a kind of a common pool, right? Where we want to deploy money from in certain projects, gaming, metaverse, whatever. We apply a multi-signature feature over the wallet so everyone can sleep in peace, right? Where can we actually go with that in the legal frame?
So you're looking to set up an investment DAO, let's say, or a so-called an investment club where you deploy your own capital and you invest in other Web3 and crypto projects.
Exactly.
There's several things to look at. You must be very careful not to be considered an investment fund or some sort of like a pooled vehicle where you pool the resources of other people and you manage those resources. So you have to be very careful not to be considered as an asset manager or a fund manager, and you have to be very careful not to fall under the fund regulations. If you
We play with our own money, our own pockets. 10 guys.
I understand, but there is a level, right?
Yeah.
How much do I play with my money, or do I trust you to play with my money? Do I rely on you to make me profits? Do I rely on you to asset manage my finances, right? There's a level. There can be active members and not active members. So let's say everybody is very active. Let's say very active. And let's say nobody has an expectation or nobody had been promised a certain level of returns. Nobody has promised that, you know, I give Danny my $100,000 and next month I receive $10 million. So, and I understand that this is a collective effort. So I don't rely on the efforts of the others, and I don't I rely on you to asset manage, and I don't expect a return. I might actually, on the contrary, I expect to lose all of that, because that's how the Web3 industry is, right? If you put in $1 into Bitcoin, you should be expecting to lose all of that. And that's the thing that I always tell everyone. If you want to play with your money and ape into this particular altcoin, knock yourself out with an expectation that you will receive that you will lose everything, because this way you can manage your expectations. So back to your DAO question, you're looking to set up a collective.
Let's say we can set up kind of rule. Let's say for the sake of example, we are 9, right? Anytime when we look to invest, we are going to vote. So if we have 5 votes against 4, then the project is accepted for the particular amount money deployed.
So let's say we bypass the hurdles where you are asset managing for third parties. We bypass the hurdle where you are a collective investment scheme. You don't fall under the fund management regulations. And let's say we bypass the burden where you don't do the fund marketing, because marketing of a fund is a regulated activity as well. So let's say you bypass all of that. We can structure you very easily within around 5 days in a certain economic free zone. That is soon will be very open to structuring DAOs. But if a DAO regime doesn't apply to you, because, for example, you do not have a governance token, we can structure you. We can structure you as a proprietary trading firm in a very particular place, but we have to clear those hurdles that I mentioned to make sure that you are not asset managing, you're not running a fund, you're doing a proprietary trading of your own capital and every member of the company, because a company can have many members. Under the UAE law, you can have up to 50 members. So your club can have 50 partners, as they're called here, and those 50 people can deploy their own capital. The problem starts when you start accepting capital from third parties, and when those third parties rely on you to make them profit or rely on you to manage their assets. That is for sure a regulated activity. If you still want to do that, there are other jurisdictions which are suitable. There are certain fund-friendly jurisdictions like Cayman Islands. It's quite quick to set up an alternative fund there. There are other jurisdictions like in Europe where you can set up an alternative investment fund under $100 million quite quickly. So there are options for sure. There are easy options and there are difficult options. And
I'm going to ask you the easy one. I'm not going to tell to anyone about this. We're just 10 guys from our networking doing this. No marketing, just our networking.
Then continue doing it.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm saying a lot of people are approaching this kind of opportunities, right? When it's very hard to get a license, register, expensive even, right? So then it's a matter of technology allows you to play in this way.
You have to be considerate of the law of the jurisdiction where you're based. For example, in the UAE, one is not permitted to carry out commercial activity without registering a company or having a commercial business license. If you decide to do it in your spare free time, that is entirely up to you, right? We also, since the last year, we have taxes. So all the income that you receive from your commercial activities, first of all, you have to report, and secondly, you have to pay taxes on that. Whether you choose or not choose to do that, this is entirely up to you as your lawyer or as a lawyer for a person who's choosing not to report their taxes. My advice for them would be not to do that. However, I also advise, this person not to cross the road on the red light. And if they choose to do that, and if they get hit by a bus, who am I to sort of not to let them do that? I'm not everybody's mother, and I'm not the policeman of the world. So you should be aware of the risks. And if those risks are acceptable to you and you're happy to carry those risks, then continue doing whatever you're doing. But if you think, wow, that's a little bit dangerous for me, let me mitigate the risks, let me reduce the risks to the level that I'm acceptable, that are acceptable to me, then we can structure legal structures for you. We can review the contracts. We can make sure that every member has signed up on the terms and conditions. That's my favorite thing, where everybody is on the same page and put their signature on it. But of course,
Let me add in top of that, right? Because we are going here in a live case, right? So we are 9 guys, but one is in Puerto Rico, one is in Singapore, one is in Malta, one is in Bali, one is swimming with dolphin in Miami, whatever. How can you solve that?
So what you have is you have an unincorporated partnership, which is engaging in commercial activities, which is very dangerous because under the law of the most jurisdictions, each partner is severally and jointly liable for the actions and the liabilities of the other partner. So the guy who's enjoying dolphins in Puerto Rico is liable for the mistakes you make here. And vice versa, you are liable for his mistakes in relation to the business operations that you're running.
Because we have this wallet together?
No, because you're running an unincorporated partnership. So 9 friends got together and started running a business. The law sees you as running an unincorporated partnership, and the law holds each and single one of you responsible for each other's mistakes. And this is exactly what you don't want. You don't want to be responsible for the mistakes of your partners. You don't want to be liable for the mistakes of the entire operations. What you want to have a legal wrapper, and you want to put the risks in that legal wrapper. You want to put, and you don't want to be responsible for the mistakes of the members of this legal wrapper. So, and you also want each of the members to sign on the terms and conditions. This, we accept that. This is what we're gonna do, etc., etc. However, maybe you're the best friends. Maybe you are happy and comfortable running and being responsible for all the mistakes of your friends. I do not know. If I were you, I would not be doing that. I would create a very simple legal structure to protect each members and to protect the operations, but also to protect the investments. What if I'm the guy swimming with the dolphins and I somehow get hold of the keys and I continue swimming with the dolphins, good luck finding me, right? You do not want those cases. And is it common for a founder to have a dispute with another founder. This is the most common dispute that I see in the legal practice. There is a successful business or not so successful. Number one reason why businesses fall apart is the internal dispute between the team and the founder, or between the founders, or amongst the CEO and the board. And this is what you don't want. You want to have all the terms and conditions amongst everyone, but also you want to have a corporate structure that if one founder decides to continue swimming with the dolphins, the business does not fall apart.
Yeah, so it's not a matter that the system is broken. Everything will be in trouble, to say like that, because those internal misunderstanding and fights, let's say like that, between members, because one will do something else and then, but not because of the system. The system can work smoothly if everyone does their job as discussed and agreed.
And unfortunately, that is never the case. Nobody does the job as agreed. Everybody has situations arriving. Today you're swimming with the dolphins. Tomorrow you want to climb Mount Everest, and
that's the moment when you show up in the movie.
Preferably
when
not.
They start calling you, "Hey, Irina, let's set up a call because we are in trouble."
Yes, and avoid those trouble by structuring yourself properly in the beginning. However, if you're comfortable to accept the risks, if you're comfortable to accept the liability for every single member of your group and also for the operations, knock yourself out. I mean, I don't smoke, but who am I to tell a person who smokes not to smoke, right?
Yeah,
we all take risks in life, in personal life, and in business. And my job is to tell you about the risks and help you minimize those risks. You cannot put the risks to zero. You cannot get to zero. But job of a lawyer, explain what the risks are, where they are, and how can we mitigate those risks. Minimize, pass on to the other party, or keep the risk to yourself with the knowledge that is the risk. That is the risk, and I must not do this or that, because then the risk becomes too much for me to bear. And that's the role of a good lawyer, to help you understand where the problems or potential problems are. And to hopefully to avoid those problems becoming a big problem.
What would you say to someone who wants to open a crypto company? Crypto company, I don't know, it might be, of course, centralized exchange is a
I'll tell them
different
not to
company.
do that. So I
established... DAO is a different company. I don't know, payment is a different company. But let's say in general, as a startup in the crypto space, what would you pick as a let's say top 3 jurisdictions at this moment?
Back in 2017, I co-founded one of the first centralized exchanges here in the region, and that was the hardest thing, and we operated it for a few years, and I exited just before the pandemic. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. That was the least amount of sleep I've ever had in my life. That was the most number of employees I was responsible for. And so when I say don't do that, I'm actually saying from the experience, I have so much respect for people who are running centralized exchanges, custody, and other operations. That is so hard. That is, I mean, everything always goes wrong. Everything always breaks down. Employees are causing issues at all times. So I have so much respect for the founders.
Because the responsibility is very high, right?
The responsibility is very high. You're responsible for your people. You're responsible for your customers. You're responsible for the crypto which is on your platform, hot wallet, cold wallets, and you're responsible to the regulators that are coming to you and asking, what on earth are you doing? What is this crypto exchange? We've never heard about this. So, and it's getting more and more difficult every year. So I have so much respect for people who are doing it. So when I say don't do that, that's where I'm coming from. Of course, I would encourage everybody to try to run a business successfully or otherwise, because you learn you learn so much. So let's say you decide to start a business. Step number 1 would always be a regulatory analysis. what you are planning to do. Is it a regulated activity or is it not a regulated activity? And if it is a regulated activity, where do I want to get regulated? You asked about the jurisdictions. Which country should I establish my operations? Of course, we're in the Middle East. We're here in Dubai. So I would highly suggest everybody to consider Dubai and the UAE as a potential jurisdiction to structure their Web3 and crypto business. But it might not be suitable particularly for that business. That's why you need to also consider other jurisdictions. We have, of course, Swiss Crypto Valley. Of course, we have Singapore, Hong Kong, and we have Baltics. For example, Estonia, Lithuania are quite active. Czech Republic is now quite active. But now with Europe receiving MiCA regulations in the next 6 to 12 months, things are about to get a little bit more complex for everyone. So step number 1 is always regulatory analysis. Step number 2, once you've completed your regulatory analysis, is to build a legal and regulatory blueprint. Okay, because you can't do everything on day one. Like rolling out a technology, you can't roll it everything on day one. You start with something, then you add features, then you build on top of that, then you build more features.
A roadmap. Yeah.
A roadmap. A legal roadmap is exactly like this. Within this month we do this, within next month we do this, then here we start raising funds, because I'm sure every entrepreneur starting will need to raise funds to scale, start and grow their business. So month 3 we start raising, month 4 we start closing, month 6 we issue a token or not, depending on the business. So, and for each of this activity you will need to have certain legal and regulatory actions that must take place. Here we issue a white paper, here we sign a SAFT. So you build your legal roadmap, and it can be as short as 6 months or it can be as long as 12 months. But of course, things are changing very fast, so I would not suggest looking beyond 12 to 18 months. Then if you are a regulated activity, if you are running a regulated business, then you start engaging with regulators. And don't just talk to one regulator. Talk to multiple, talk to several. Here in the UAE, we already counted, we have 5. Talk to the regulators in European jurisdictions. Talk to regulators in other jurisdictions. See which regulator is more receptive to your business model. Also look at your competition. If 20 exchanges are in this particular jurisdiction and they seem to be thriving, maybe there is a reason why they're thriving. Maybe the regulator is very receptive to this business model. If there are 60 DAOs in Cayman Islands, okay, let's have a look. Maybe Cayman Island is a great jurisdiction for us. So it's all about analyzing the market as well. And then once you decided on the regulator and settled on the jurisdiction, start executing. Start forming entities, start applying for the regulations if that is applicable. And once you've established yourself, of course you have marketing stream, you have business development stream, you have technology stream. So I'm not looking at that, right?
Yeah, that will start after the regulations are on point, right?
No,
I mean after.
So you can start at the same time. You can go in parallel.
But why would you start your marketing if you haven't received papers, the green line from the regulator?
When I say marketing, I mean you can start writing blogs before, right? You can start building a website beforehand. You can start building landing pages. You can start adjusting your Google ad background. Like there's a lot of things you can do in the background while you getting your licenses, if the license is applicable to you. So a lot of streams happen in parallel, and that's absolutely normal. Business development, onboarding partners, happening all in parallel, coming to wonderful podcasts like yours, talking about the future upcoming business. All of that is happening in parallel, should be happening in parallel. You don't want to sit for 12. Sometimes it can take up to 12 months to receive a regulatory approval. So what? Everybody sits on their hands for 12 months? Of course not. You should build in the background. And then once you received your license, you go bam, like huge launch. So, and once you receive your license, then you can open the door for the customers. But of course, probably not a good idea to open the door to the customers beforehand. I lost my train of thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, after that, it's a matter of proper execution of the business, right? You just start implementing your strategy as a product, as a company.
Yes, and if you establish in a particular jurisdiction, you have to follow the rules and the regulations of this particular jurisdictions.
Exactly.
You need to hire people as per the labor law of that country, or here in the UAE, for example. Let's say we're establishing here, you need to follow the tax law, you need to get the immigration and the Emirates IDs for all your employees and managers. You need to open bank accounts. You need to open other sort of like admin tasks, right? And then, of course, there's annual compliance. You need to annually renew your licenses. You need to annually report on your UBOs. You need to annually comply with the
UBO means?
ultimate beneficial owners.
Okay.
You need to report on your, the registrar will request that. You will also need to comply with the conditions of your license if you're a regulated entity. So you need to, every other week you need to be on a call with your regulator. Make sure that, they're happy with your business. They know you, they trust you, you build that trust relationship. So it's quite an undertaking. It's not for the faint-hearted, for sure, to run a centralized and a regulated crypto business. It's quite it's becoming more and more difficult every year, whereas in 2017 it was much easier and I was already pulling all my hair out, and here we are in 2024 and it's getting only harder and more regulated.
Because of its complications, like so many elements every single year, adding to the entire map that regulators have to consider, right?
That, and also regulators are now considering crypto exchanges equal to banks, right? Because that's what you are really. That's what crypto exchanges have developed into: lending, borrowing, storing the assets of their customers. They're literally banks. And there are some crypto exchanges like Binance. They make more money than Deutsche Bank, for example. So some exchanges have grown to be even bigger than the oldest banks. Tether recently published their quarterly return. They make more money. They're like 90 people and they make more money than a bank with thousands of employees. So our industry have definitely grown so much, and the regulators are paying attention, because if you're nobody and you have no money, nobody will pay attention to you and your business. But the minute you become somebody and the minute you become publicly exposed, that's when the regulators start paying attention. I mean, look what happened with CZ and Binance. I mean, that's, in my mind, that's just appalling.
What do you think happened exactly behind the doors?
I do not know what happened behind the doors, and I can't speculate what happened behind the doors. I can only see.
We can just play with our minds.
I can only read what is publicly available, and I think I'm very unhappy with the outcome. I hope he can come home to Dubai very soon and will be released.
But still, the interdiction is available.
Say it again.
The interdiction is still available. He can do that yet.
He cannot, he cannot leave the US just yet. I'm hoping he will be able to do that soon. And I'm hoping on a personal, human level, that he can return home to his family and continue his life. They have settled with the regulators, with the US, and I wish him all the best, and I wish him to continue his life as a human being.
Do you think it's a matter of coincidence that this event occurred just around BTF, Bitcoin ETF? Like all these big guys, they want to put the hands on Bitcoin.
They wanted to take down Binance because they see Binance as a competition?
Not only as a competition, because Binance at the level of, even now, but with CZ in the front line, definitely is way more powerful as a company. But Binance is literally to the sky, right? In terms of market share and stuff. Do you think it was too powerful?
I don't like engaging in conspiracy theories, and
I mean, it's part of our industry, right?
I don't know.
We cannot, put our hands over the eyes and say, no, I have no idea those things, because those things are actually that in somehow will give you the perspective of what's going on, right?
So you think Binance became too big and too powerful and somebody wanted to take CZ down?
I think that when those big players like BlackRock and, unbelievable level of assets under management and the power they have I think they prefer to set up the rules.
And I would agree with you
Otherwise, they won't
because
enter.
because BlackRock, for example, had a huge interest in the war in Iraq and how many people died in that war in Iraq. BlackRock now has huge interest in the war in Ukraine and how many people are dying right now in the war in Ukraine. So what's for them to take down one guy if they already had a hand in literally murdering millions of civilians? So
I mean, people who are watching us right now, they should take a tiny insight from this conversation is
don't
give
piss off BlackRock.
No, I'm just I'm very open. My impact in BlackRock's life is.
Well, I hope everybody soon will become as big, as powerful to be to make an impact on BlackRock.
When you accept as a country, for example, right? You accept Binance to enter and operate in your jurisdiction, right? There's so many things you can do with that exchange, as you mentioned. Military, army, war, feeding certain parts with playing with money around. The implications are in a totally different level that at the surface can look like, okay, it's a centralized exchange coming in our country.
I think we live in a cruel, unjust world where corporations run some governments. I absolutely love UAE for this reason because the rulers of the country love their people and work for their people. I do not see corporations running this government. At least I don't see that. I've been here for 16 years. But yeah, there are governments out there which are run and corporations are telling them what to do. Corporations are picking the next president, and there are some countries where oligarchs are running the government and telling the president what to do. So unfortunately, we live in an unjust and cruel world. And
but that has been forever. Like there is no other way, in my opinion. If you give to the world,
I think UAE is another way where we have a ruler in each emirate that really honestly love their people and work for their people. I mean, the work that they've done here, literally in the last 52 years, is just incredible, and they have done it for the people.
But try to break the rules for 1 minute,
which is great. I like that.
Yes,
I like that. I like jurisdictions where there is when there is rule and order. That's why I can leave my phone in the UAE, in Dubai, and I can come back 1 month later and it will still be in the same place, right? I like that. And Switzerland, for example, is the exact opposite. So I spent half of my time in Switzerland, and we are a direct democracy where every single member in the village where I live votes for the laws and the regulations of that canton, of that village, and of the wider Switzerland. So it's the exact opposite. But try breaking laws in Switzerland, you'll be out in 5 minutes. And that's a democracy, but they're taking it so seriously. So
because at one point it's a matter of this control, and we are going back to BlackRock with this, right? So when I don't know if someone doesn't know yet who is BlackRock, just Google it and you'll find, right? Like trillions and trillions and trillions, and they are shareholders in 90% of all companies all over the world, right? So at this dimension, 100%, and let's say 99, right? They enter when they set up the rules. And my perspective is it has to be a control. But the thing is, and my next question is the Bitcoin narrative, right? Like if you talk, I know you're a Bitcoin lover.
I'm a Bitcoin maxi.
I know, yeah. So even the question is more relevant. Bitcoin ETF approved, right? Didn't you just give the baby to the people that you always said you are against?
I was never for ETF. I am, a lot of people rejoiced. I was part of that rejoicement. Oh, look, now the Wall Street has accepted Bitcoin. But I don't think that that's what Bitcoin was meant to be. I don't think Bitcoin was meant to be part of the Wall Street. It's the opposite. It's to be the contrary to Wall Street is to be part of, where a person on the street or a refugee from Gaza can feed their family, because their cousin sent them peer-to-peer Bitcoin because they cannot open bank accounts, or the refugees that ran from the war in Ukraine. There was a lot of efforts to raise Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency to help them peer-to-peer, right? Because you can't just send a wire transfer to a refugee who's running from bombs dropping on their heads, right? So this is for me what Bitcoin is. It's the freedom, it's the liberty, it's the opposite of the financial slavery that we're living in by living in a fiat system. However,
I do agree with you, but what's going on right now is going to be in a totally opposite way.
Exactly.
Because right now, actually, we can see how desperate they were in Bitcoin. By just during 5 weeks, they acquired more than 5% from the supply.
I dislike Wall Street as much as the guy next to me, and what they did to us in 2008, how the greed caused the global financial crisis. Not a single banker went to prison for that. Millions of people lost their livelihoods and their jobs. I lost my wonderful job back at home in Melbourne during this global financial crisis. So that's why I came to the UAE. So it worked out okay for me, but there's so many people who lost their livelihoods in that. Not a single banker was held responsible. And whereas we have a situation where a crypto exchange founder is being held in custody right now, which is, I don't want that. I want the bankers to be as responsible for their crimes against people as the next guy. However, the thing about Bitcoin is it's for everyone. So do I like what some people do with Bitcoin? No. The ordinals and all of that, do I like it? No. Do I consider it as a spam? Yes. But Bitcoin is for everyone, and you're free to do with that what you wish. Who am I to censor you? What is it Bitcoin for you?
Absolutely. Everyone will interpret it in their own understanding.
Exactly. And also Bitcoin is different thing for different people. If you are living in a jurisdiction where your fiat is plummeting and the inflation is going through the roof. So for you, Bitcoin is a way to maybe feed your family, maybe survive. Us, for example, here in the UAE, you have a bank account, I have a bank account, we have credit cards. So for us, Bitcoin is probably an asset that we're saving into. For somebody who, for a grandma in a rural area, and she's making like nice art and crafts, for her, it's the means of international commerce because I can pay her for her art sitting right here, right? For everybody, for every single person, Bitcoin is different. For Wall Street, Bitcoin is an instrument of greed and a way to earn more money, to get bigger bonuses.
As a Bitcoin maxi, let me give you more bad news. The price is going to be manipulated by those who have access to the Bitcoin that is available right now in the market, which is about roughly, I don't know exactly the numbers, but maybe around 2 million Bitcoin maximum, right? Because like 70% from the supply is on the cold wallets. Maybe people like you, they will never sell. But that's not up to you, and you have literally zero power in the price just holding the Bitcoin, because they are the one who will set up the price. And if they keep acquiring, at one point have 88% from the supply, they can put the price whatever they want. And suddenly 1,000 Bitcoin will be, I don't know what. That's the problem.
Yes, and
Wall suddenly Street, the dream is
the Wall Street is known
at the end.
The Wall Street is known for manipulating the markets. They've been manipulating gold and silver market through ETFs for forever. Each paper gold ounce that they sell the statistics is crazy. For each real gold that we have, they sell thousands and thousands of paper gold sort of units. However, the Bitcoin ETF is slightly different because the regulators require it to be backed by actual Bitcoin on their actual accounts. How will that be checked? Can they manipulate it? I'm sure they'll find a way to manipulate it. I have full confidence in the Wall Street to be able to manipulate any market they wish. But that's the
Indeed.
world we're living in, right? And as an individual, what do? You protect yourself in a way you can, right? You see the risks and you protect yourself to the best of your ability. Am I worried that Bitcoin price will go up or down? I don't know the price, and I don't concern myself with that. Bitcoin for me, first of all, is that libertarian idea and the freedom to be away from the fiat system, because I consider fiat system is the system that perpetrates wars and perpetrates the suffering of individuals. We have more than 50 wars going on right now. Like right now, people are, it's 2024 and children are dying in wars. Come on, what is this? And if we eventually get to the point where we are on a Bitcoin standard, countries will simply have no ability to print money into oblivious and bomb other countries. Will we ever get there?
Yeah, but in the same time, what I wanted to see is people like Bitcoin lovers, diehard fan Bitcoin, just go out there and put pressure for the Bitcoin ETF not to be approved. But instead of that, what I've seen, just everybody in the entire crypto Twitter and everything, everywhere, just smashing their chest. Now we are approved. The price will go to the roof.
And that's the beauty. And that's the beauty of Bitcoin. Everybody will do whatever they feel is right. And if you felt it was the right thing to protest against Wall Street, I would have joined you in that protest. Unfortunately, not as many people felt that way. A certain empire crumbling, and they are printing their currency into oblivion. They are starting wars all over the world, and that's not sustainable. So once that empire collapses, hopefully we'll see more peace and more prosperity worldwide.
Yeah, but again, we had the chance maybe once in the entire mankind, and I think it's over. Like, not in next 5 years or 10, but I think we just did the biggest mistake ever to give them access. Like, it should have been something like they want, and somehow the network will be somewhere there untouchable, and that was its entire power. Like, it should have been there untouched. The more they wanted, the price will be to the roof.
That is an interesting idea.
Anyway,
that is an interesting idea
just,
for sure. And we can dream of a just world, but we don't live in a just world.
We are just having a conversation as Bitcoin lovers. At least what I will have preferred to happen. But
I agree with you.
We're just a wave in the oceans.
You're just a drop in the ocean, if even that.
Yeah. Irina, we need to wrap it up for today. Obviously, time flies with you, and all the time the discussion is very intense and super valuable. I just want to thank you again for coming to ICN Talks, and I want to see you in the industry contributing to great things as you already done it. And yes, thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Irina. Thank you guys for watching. Please consider to smash the like button and follow us on social media platform Iron Capital News. And thank you so much for watching, and see you on the next one. Thank you.